Okay, so this is video for step number 4. So we set up our executive summary here, tracking the baseline. We track the second update. We populated the critical hot items. So now we're going to do we already updated our weekly update for the next week, and we're going to update this sheet here. So the first thing we do is I always like to have a blank one empty. So I'm going to create one more so I can have two blank ones. So if I click on the I and the J, select them both, right click, copy. I'm going to click on the I, right click, insert copied cells, and it inserts. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see we have two empty slots essentially for previous updates. So now that we have the two, I'm going to go in and grab. I'm going to click on P002A, grab all of these cells all the way to the bottom, right click, copy. I'm going to scroll to the farther right one, click here on this first cell, right click, paste. Right click, paste. There it is. So that's the update that we did in the last video. It's here, it's history now. Right, since we have a new update to do, and I have an extra blank one ready to go. So I always try to have an extra blank one here. So now I'm going to go in. So that's a previous schedule now. I'm going to delete this information here. Delete it, blank out or white out these orange items. And our new update that we just updated, I'm going to open it up here. Here it is. It's P003A. And it's a weekly update. So going back to the Excel file, go ahead and name it P003A. And this is weekly update as of, and the date was, let's look at a data date as of October 21st of 24. 10, 21, 24. And we're going to do it again, right? We're going to go activity by activity or key milestone. So I just select this guy, right click, copy. In this case, I can do Control C. Go in on the PDF, do Control F. It opens up this little search thing. Right click, paste, or Control V. And I cannot find that activity anymore, and it's probably because we are already done with it, right? So I can't find it. What I could do is I can ask myself, why is it not there? I can question it, or I can go to the light P6 file. Here it is. I'm going to open up the schedule. Open it up. Let me run a filter for all activities, make sure that's checked on. I'm going to do the same thing, Control F. Control V, paste it, that activity ID. And it's there. Oh, click there. Control F. So there it is. There's that activity. And the reason why it didn't show up is our PDF had all remaining activities. That activity is complete already. So that's why we're not seeing it. So in this case, we completed an activity. So we probably don't want to track it. It's not important anymore. We're done. But we do want to track that we're done with it. So October 18th. So I'm going to go on the Excel file. I can put 10/18/24, and I do activity is complete. I can keep it for this week, right? And then maybe next week I hide it or delete it. Let's just assume I don't want to keep it anymore. I usually don't delete things. I'll go in on cell number 7, right click, and hide. So it's still there, but it's hidden because it's not important anymore. Okay, so then I keep on moving on. So we start cleaning up this log. That way, as things get done, you clean them up. And then as you clean up these, let's say design is done and permits and trade releases are done, you're going to start hiding these and maybe start adding more in the construction. Other milestones that may pop up, right? So I always try to clean it up as I go. So I'm going to click on the next one, Control C. I'm going to go to the, in this case, we can search for it on the P6 file, but you can search for it on the PDF. Here it is. So design drawings, 30%, January 31st of 25. 1/21/25. Okay, So in this case, if you look, our last update, we were tracking 127, so we actually better that date. So in this case, when it's better, we highlight it in green. It's a good thing. But I still want to know why, right? Why? How did we better it, right? Like it's always, whether you lose time or you gain time, it's always good to track it. So I know that I don't think we did. So my mistake, it's actually 131, right? So it's not a green, it's orange. And in this case, it could or could not be an orange, right? I try not to be super nitpicky on if we lose 1 or 2 days here, right? So in this case, we lost 4 days, 5 days. You may want to highlight an orange because you're worried. Let's say we lost a little less, right? You may leave it alone. So in this case, we're going to highlight it orange and put the reason why we lost another 4 or 5 days. And the reason why we lost time here is the 5% drawings took longer, right? So the architect needed an extra week to finalize the drawing, or an extra 4 days. So I will put here, design team needed additional time to complete 5% package, right? And I can stretch this out, or I can keep it where it was. I'm gonna undo it. And let's say it just didn't fit. I can click here, and this little toolbar on Excel, I find it. Oh, here it is, wrap text. So I can click on wrap text. It's clicked on, and I just stretch the number 8 down. So now you can see it a little bit better. All right, so I have a reason. There it is. Maybe this is a big deal, right? So a delay notification should be sent to the architect. Hey, you promised to have the drawings by a certain date. You need an extra 4 days. That's unacceptable, right? You need to work Saturday, Sunday, or you're going to pay whatever extension of time we need in the job, right? So this is where this helps you. This is going to tee you off to that notification on who you need to notify. In this case, it's the architect. So we go to the next activity, DES 1060. Control F, 1060. There it is. So 10 or 21025. 21025. And we lost time for the same reason. So I'm going to just put C above and highlight it in orange, right? So unfortunately, this is where if I'm looking at it week after week, I see oranges and reds. This is a problem. You're not maintaining any of your dates, right? Ideally, everything is white or green. You're either maintaining the schedule or you're bettering it. Or you have a good reason and someone's going to pay for it. Okay, next activity. 326 of 25. 326 of 25. Same thing. Compared it to the last update, it was 320. All right. After a while, you're going to have a lot of previous schedules. So what you could do here too, to make it shorter, if you click on the 2, what it does, it just gives me the dates of every other previous schedule, but not the detail, right? Which in this case, I don't need to see the detail here. If you want the detail again, you just press a 3 and it grows it. All right, so you can continue on. 2, there it is. So I'm going to put C above again. Permits. Copy that one. July 28th of 25. 28 of 25. So same reason, right? So this one little design package, we lost time for the whole schedule, right? And depending on the job, sometimes you lose time on one activity and may not affect the others, but in this case, it is. See above, trade release. So we're probably going to be consistently losing time on all these activities. Trade release of that guy. So February 10th of 2025. Oh, no, I think it's the end date. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's the end date, February 24 of 25. 24, 25. So again, see above, this is orange. Next activity, just kind of work it down. And again, pretty simple schedule. One hiccup in the schedule affected everything, but on your other ones that may not happen. So July 29 or 25.
No, the 30th.
No, 29. July 29 or 25.
Don't you say the end date?
Or the end date. Oh yeah, it was the end date. So July 30th, 25. 7/30, 25. It's orange. See above. There it is. Next one. And just keep on moving right along. Testing December 12th of 25. 25, it's orange again. So in this case, it's pretty simple, right? All fingers of a delay point to one issue, right? So this is where you can clearly show your team, hey, because we didn't hit our design milestone, look, I lost a day or 4 days on every single one of our major milestones that are important to the job. Okay, a few more. Okay, racking system, November 18th of 25. 11/18 of 25. Okay. See above. Last one. This is the important one. This calculates that formula at the bottom. Okay. January 9th of 26. 1/9/26. So there it is. So we're done with our update. Right, obviously we lost more time. This is where maybe there's a recovery plan that you start working with the team to recover that 4-day loss, or somehow the architect had a good excuse why he needed the additional time, or there was a change by the owner. Maybe this delay goes to the owner. So the goal really here is find out why you're delayed, by how much, and who's to blame essentially, whether it's our sub, ourselves, the owner, or an unforeseen or something, right? That's really what the goal here is. So we're done with that. We're going to do our hot priority critical items down here. Here it is. So last week we had one item to track, and really it's the same thing. So because we lost time, we could say, hey, I don't know the exact reason why we lost time, but I know we did. So it's 5% design package, confirm, reason for delay. Okay, so it's Monica, she's a design manager. I would say Monica to send delay notification. Notification to responsible party. All right, so this is where, although it's done, it's passed, we're done, it still was a problem, and I'm not sure why, but we got to find out why and send that notification. So pretty simple schedule, but I'm gonna go into another schedule that has other critical paths, other delays, just to show you how to glance through your schedule to add more activities in here. So let's open up P6, and we will open up another project that has a little bit more going on. So so we'll open up this job. Oh, you know what? Clicked on the wrong one. Okay, so I opened up a different job. It has a little bit more going on. So again, the goal of the executive summary is, you know what's going on, you know how much you lost, and then you start really listing all the things that are affecting you, right? So let's just pretend this is our job, this one that I have open here on P6. First thing I do, I'm gonna run my long path. Longest path, I go on the filter, longest path. So at any given time, you should at least have one item on your list. So in this case, this is my longest path. We kind of scroll down, and what I do is I just go down the list. The blue line here is your data date. So anything that on the longest path that's on that blue line is your most critical thing on the job. So in this case, if I look here, blue line here, this activity here, OCPW review and approve, that's what's triggering my longest path on my job, or at least one of them. All right, so I'm gonna list this here. So this is OCP review and approve. I need them to review RFI number 49 for waterproofing. All right, so I can go in and I'm gonna go on my log. In this case, it's an RFI. Again, I usually like having 2 empty items, so I'm gonna go on 46, right click, insert, and I'll put RFI 49 waterproofing, whatever it happens to be. Priority, this is your number 1 item, right? This is the worst critical path on the job. This is bold. We'll make it, take off the bold. Who is the client? So in this case, I'm assigning it. It's OCPW is our owner. So I want to assign it to someone in our team that's going to manage the owner. So in this case, it's the project engineer, Steve. So I'll put Steve and Steve to set up meeting to resolve RFI by, and try to put date right by 10/24. All right, so that's your priority number 1. All right, then I go through, I keep on going that blue line and see what else is hugging that line. Okay, here's another activity here. So it happens to be the same amount of float. You see how it's -10? So it just happens to match, but it could have been -9 or minus 10 or -11. So in this case, that's equally as bad. So it's a USR that needs to get approved. So in this case, the description here is pretty good. I'm gonna go in, copy it. USR, that's an other item. It's not an RFI, it's not a submittal, but it's an other. So again, here, right click, insert. Now we have an extra one. USR, unbold it. In this case, I have an MEP coordinator that's managing our USRs, our shutdown requests. It's Hank. Put his name on it. Hank to confirm approval by, and then we'll go on the schedule. He's tracking that to be approved by February 18th, right? So ideally, if he can beat that date, we can recover that -10, right? So ideally, we want that to happen in late January. That way it's off the long path or the critical path. So I'll confirm that before, for, let's say 131 if possible, right? So this is where you start assigning all the things that are affecting you, right? So again, I did the first 2 activities. I'm gonna go down the blue line. This blue line here, the first one, that's just a summary bar. I'm okay with that one. So blue bars, a lot of them are summary bars or activities are complete. Next one, you can't see it there, but this little short blue bar actually has a little bit of red in there. If I stretch it out, you're gonna see it. And the reason why I knew it had red is if I click it, I can see that it's not actualized, it's not done. So if it's not done, it's not all blue, right? So there's still a little bit of remaining pending items in the pit and other finishes to demo, right? So our demo guy needs to hurry up so that we keep him off the critical path, right? Or better that date. So this is where, this is other, right? Or you can add a column for, or a section for field issues. So I'm gonna insert another line. And I'm gonna put demo, remaining pit, and other items. In this case, I'm gonna assign it to my superintendent in that area, right? And this is where, if I have a lot of issues on all assigned to one person, I'll give him priority 1, 2, 3. But in this case, I'm assigning different things to different people, so I'm gonna keep them at 1, right? So in this case, the super there is Nick. And I say Nick to expedite or work or accelerate. Right. Remaining work. All right, we need a plan. We need to recover that one. Okay, back on the P6. Keep on going down the blue line. Let's see if there's anything else hugging it. Okay, so nothing else. So really, blue line, there was 3 issues, right? That were kind of lying on that blue line, which are critical. So I ran the longest path. That's the first pass. Then the other thing you can do is, these are all longest paths or negative or 0 float, but there could be other things that are really close that I want to start looking out for. So in the last video, not sure if I showed the creating a filter for float. I'm gonna create a new filter, right? So I'm gonna go new, and I'm gonna go where the total float. So I'm gonna just type in T on my keyboard. Takes me to the T activities, total float. And in this case, you got to pick how much cushion you want to give yourself. If you want to start watching everything with more than 10 days of float, or more than 15 days of float, or 20 days. In this case, I'm gonna just pick 15. So I'll put where total float equals or is less than 15 days. right? I want to see it. So press OK. Here it is. I didn't name it, so I'm going to just double click it. And I'm going to call it Tony's float filter for 15 days. Right, and you can call it whatever you want. Okay, press OK. There it is. I'm going to apply it. So you can start seeing now, if I follow the blue line, same concept, I start seeing more activities, right? So this first one, the -10, we already had seen that one. That was a USR. Here it is. Then here's another one. So prefab ceiling submittal, right? It's not the long path, but look, it has 3 days of float. So if we lose 3 more days, it's going to be 0 float and then eventually more. So I probably want to make sure we're tracking that one. So I'm going to copy it. And it's a submittal. Again, I'm going to add another line item here. Insert. Copy it in here. And in this case, it's the same PE that's managing the RFI. It's Steve. So Steve had already a priority 1, the waterproofing, which was the longest path. This is going to be his priority 2. All right. And I'm going to say get submittal approved before, and we'll look at the date, October 28th, right? It's just a way to show them, hey, I'm watching this submittal and it's in your core. You better watch it, right? Because it could affect the schedule if we don't. That's it. Keep on going down the blue line. So remember, the blue line's your key, right? We did the submittal. Here's another one, escalator procurement, right? So again, 5 days of float. So it's not critical, but it's really close. So you get the idea. You just go down the blue line and you look at every single activity and look at the float. And obviously the less float, that's the higher priority. So this 14-day float, maybe that's priority 4, right? So you can start seeing it and I keep on going down. This one we had already done, the remaining demo items in the pit. And here's a few more, right? Here's another pit. So it has 10 days of float, not as bad as this one, right? But we got to watch it, right? So maybe while you're accelerating this activity, you start having that conversation with the demo. So say you're late here, we need you to accelerate and be careful with the other pit. You got to hurry up or make sure you maintain schedule. Keep on going down the blue line all the way to the bottom. And that's it, right? Nothing there. So you get the point, and really the goal is at the end, this printout here is the most important thing. So normally what I do when I complete this update, let's say we're done, I listed all my items, I don't have a lot of subcontract NDP, sometimes I'll go in and I'll delete some line items just to clean it up. Right click, delete. That way this is a little cleaner. All right. So what I normally do is when I type up the email weekly, I send this snippet to the whole team and say, hey, team, did our update. This is where we're at. And the most important thing that I need you guys to do is look at your assigned items here. So let's do a test. Normally the way I'll print out a PDF, right? So did Control P, brings this up. I usually never send the Excel file because people can mess up the printing or accidentally type something else. So normally I just send the PDF file. Booby PDF, print it. See what it looks like. It says yes, you want to save it. I'll just set it on my desktop for now, but you can save it in your folder. And this comes out, looks pretty good, right? You can see your current schedule, what you're tracking, your previous schedules. In this case, we only have one, but eventually this is going to grow. And your baseline schedule, right? So again, I don't like white space, so I use this crop pages tool a lot. Go in, and just crop the area that I want to print out. And there it is, right? So nice and clean. You can print that out. Looks good. You can use this in your staff meeting, in your owner's meeting. And just a quick way to get a good glimpse of how your job is tracking. So if I see oranges week after week after week, you're probably headed for disaster, right? You're not going to be meeting your dates, right? So you want to see whites and greens. So on top of that, what I do is I use the snipping tool from Microsoft, and I'll take a snippet. So snipping tool, I go new, and I'll take a snippet here. So I try to make it as easy for my team to read this every week, right? So copy it here. And I do a few things on the email. Here's a blank email. So I bring in all the emails. I usually call weekly update hot critical items, right? Or whatever you want to call it. And I'll say team, see attach, schedule update summary. Because if you think about it, most people don't have the time to read a complete update summary on P6 and 40 pages, but they'll probably read this one page every week. Schedule update, highlighting hot/critical items. Please note your responsibility and plan accordingly to resolve issues assigned to you. All right, and you can add more words. So remember, I copied that snippet, and then I usually just put it in here. All right, it's in the email. I can kind of scale it down a little bit. That way, even if they don't want to, so on top of that, I attach the PDF. So we'll bring in the PDF. So the PDF is here, but even if they don't click, if they're on their phones and they don't click on the PDF, they can see the snippet right away. So I kind of force them to look at it even before looking at the PDF. All right, so that way, if I'm Steve, if I know that Tony's always updating the schedule, he's going to send it every Friday. If I don't have a lot of time, at least let me look at my list down there, and he can quickly see that he has 2 issues assigned to him. That he better start looking into it, because in the staff meeting on Monday, I'm gonna get called, or he's gonna get called out for it, right? If he's not working on them. So normally I do that, and then I always also attach the weekly P6 updates part of this. So you have your executive summary, your 3-week look ahead. So here, let's say this was the all activities, and then the remaining activities update that we updated that week. So I set all of that, and just be anal and do it every week. So that's typically how I top it off or finish off the weekly update with this. Okay, here I'm gonna just put it out here, and then one last thing, I'm gonna just pretend a week has passed. All right, let me close this PDF. I'm gonna go back to the Excel. Let's say a week has passed, and I'm gonna do our P004A schedule just one more time. I like opening everything up, so I'm gonna press the 3. It opens up the schedule. All right, you can see, and after a while it starts growing on you, so it's gonna be a little harder to see the whole thing. And I'm gonna add, click I and J, right click copy, click on I, insert copied cells. So I have, let me scroll in, I have 2 extra columns. All right, I'm already done with P003, so I go in here, copy, right click, copy, and click on here, on this cell, right? It always starts with where you type in the number, and right click, paste it in here. There it is. So you have that, and then you go in and you delete this. Don't delete these numbers, right? These are a formula already calculating. If you look here, it's a formula. So just delete these here. Delete the title, blank these out, and you do it again, right? So every week you do it again, and then you can, after a while, if you click on the 2 here, you can start seeing your history, right? You started here, that's what you're tracking here, and every week you're gonna start seeing that long history, and that way if someone says, hey, how did we get from 11:25 to 1:09? And you can say, oh, you know what? Here, I'll show you. You click on the 3, you expand all the details, and you start from the right. Right? You say, okay, this is how we got to it. We started, it really comes to this reason up here. Like we started with 1025 for a design package, but then the owner requested a 5%. So we lost 2 months. And then we lost from 127 to 131. We lost another 4 days because the design team needed an extra 4 days. So you can see the history of your job and how you're losing time on any one of these key milestones. Sounds like a lot of work, but after a while, you have a lot of changes on your schedule. It's really hard to remember why you lost time, especially if you have different milestones that are losing a different amount of time. But this will help you remember it. And if an executive shows up or someone wants to know how you lost time, you can click on the 3, open everything up, and you can see the history. right? Or you can even click on the 1. This is a nice filter too. It just gives you your current schedule and your baseline schedule. So you see very little detail, right? So sometimes you may just want to do this filter. And that's the 1. So imagine, let me do a 3. Let's say I had not deleted my P003. I'll paste it back in here. There it is. I'm gonna just make this P004. Let's just pretend it's P004, and all the dates we're tracking exactly the same. They're gonna be white now, and there's no delays, right? So this is a good update. Let's pretend this was 1031. And then I can click on the 2 so you can start seeing the history here, or I can click on the 1. So you just see, this is where I'm at today. This is the target baseline. And that's it. So let's say the owner says, hey, your P001 schedule was great, but we did have a change and now there's a new baseline, right? And your P003 schedule is your new baseline, right? What you need to do is click on the 1. Sorry, click on the 1's fine. Let's say our new baseline is P003. I'm gonna go in, P003, open up P003 and grab these dates. Copy them and paste them here. Right, and then I'm gonna take off the orange, right, because there's no delay there. So let's say P003, the owner approves it, it's a new baseline. Look at what's happening now. Look at all you're actually tracking, you're on time now, right? And all because we revised the baseline and they approved it. So now we're tracking all our dates. So now if I run the one up here, look, we're tracking every single date, right? So the goal also is, it's okay to have delays. Sometimes they're excusable. The owner extends the time. Just go in there and update the baseline column so that way your math works out and it's tracking we're 0 days behind or ahead of schedule. That's perfect. All right, that concludes this video.